If you could go anywhere in the whole world, where would you go?
I always want to be part of something bigger.
I love that answer.
Something that lasts, that means something. Something more important than life.
Yes.
Your character here is amazing. But I feel like what I loved about this film is how it kind of shows that not everything is as we think it is as audience members. So what do you think is that kind of like B-side to being a movie star?
I often say, because people are like, wow, shooting movies must be so glamorous. And I'm like, no. There's about 3 or 4 days out of the year that are super glamorous, and you get in a couture gown and you go to an award show and you drink nice champagne and it's very glamorous. That only happens a couple days of the year. For the rest of the months of the year, it's kind of like working on a construction site. And I say to my friends, I'm like, I use a portaloo more than I use a normal toilet, because on a film set, you're all using, that's the glamour of filmmaking. You're sitting in the dirt and dust. It's so down and dirty, honestly. It's like, it's like being a part of the circus. You pick up every few days, you get all the equipment, everyone drives to another location, you set up, you eat together, you do your scenes, and then you pick up and you move again. It's like being a part of a moving circus, but it's definitely not as glamorous as I think people might think it is. And people are always astounded to know how long the hours are and how long it takes to make a film. You know, when I say, oh, I was doing that film for 6 months, they're like, 6 months? And when I have friends come visit set, they're like, you're still saying the same 3 lines. I'm like, yeah, I'll be saying them for the next 12 hours. And they're like, what? And they're like, I'm leaving, I'm bored now. And I'm like, I'm not, I love it.
I think one thing that Babylon allows us to see as audience members is how some decisions are randomly taken, because something didn't work out, or the way films are made. Were there any random decisions in this film, or something you really wish people would notice that maybe it's not right there in your face?
I'm sure, because in some ways, that's the magic of making movies. In some ways, is that you're always a little bit beholden to the accidents that are going to happen, and you're beholden to the real world. It's unless you're making an animated film, you're shooting some version of real life, even if it's very artificial and all the sets are built and everything's been chosen and scripted. There's still some element of real life that's going to come in. Someone's going to look different than you expect, or say the line differently than you think, or some accident will happen, the camera will go here instead of there, and sometimes, you pull your hair out, it's not what you want, but other times there can be moments where those accidents lead you to the greatest things. And I've often found that as a director, that I sort of like to prepare everything as much as possible, so I have a thorough plan, but then with the hope that while you're shooting, something will surprise you, and that you can throw the plan out on some level, and you can sort of go with instinct and with sort of what feels compelling at the moment, even if it's not initially what you had in your mind.
It's written in the stars. I am a star. If I had money, I would only spend it on things that were fun, not boring things like taxes. I'm just one for everyone to party forever.
Creo que algo que tiene esta película es que pone sobre la mesa muchos temas relativos a Hollywood, y ahora que tú tuviste esta oportunidad, ¿tú crees que es realmente posible adaptarse a Hollywood sin cambiar quién eres o tu esencia?
O sea, yo creo que absolutamente todo te cambia, ¿no? Sin embargo, creo que sí se puede, sobre todo porque lo que le pasaba a Manuel no nos tiene que pasar ya a nadie. Manuel tiene que fingir, tiene que esconderse, tiene que cambiar, se cambia hasta de nombre. Tiene que mentir con su nacionalidad, y este peyorativo que los latinos sentían de sí mismos de muchas formas, ¿no? Tanto en Estados Unidos como en la industria misma, pues eso ya no, o sea, ahora nos suma. Ahora ser latino es lo de hoy.
Claro, es la onda.
Exacto. Entonces yo espero que no. Quiero confiar fielmente en que no, en que uno puede seguir siendo uno, y las consecuencias de la vida pues, son las consecuencias de la vida, pero uno es quien es.
I feel like there's one thing that Babylon has taught us, and especially through your characters, is that the reasons behind wanting to do movies have a lot to say on how long you survive in this industry, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Do you think that, what are like the right motivations to do what you do?
It's different for everybody. I think we all have our own idea of what success is, and it's important that you hold on to whatever your specific idea is, and I think that's going to get you through the journey, because I think early on, a lot of us, we face a lot of rejection. And so you really just have to just kind of hold tight to what you, to your why, as to why you're pursuing this career. I think that's what keeps you kind of grounded.
Yeah. And Anna May Wong said something along the lines of, you know, success is not a jewel that you can purchase and keep, and your fame really is at the mercy of the ever-changing tastes of the audience.
When I first moved to LA, signs on all the doors said, no actors or dogs allowed. I changed that.
And now, y'all ready for something different?
I have always loved, and I've heard this from a lot of actors who are like, you know, there are periods where you're an unemployed person when you're an actor.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, obviously, Brad Pitt's character kind of reflects that. Does it ever scare you to think that this might ever, like, have an expiration day?
Yeah.
I think that's scary.
No, of course. You're always thinking, my gosh, are they never going to let me do this again? All I can think every time is, I'm so lucky I get to do this. What if it's all gone tomorrow? What if I'm never allowed to act again? I don't know what I'd do with myself. I have a lot of, you know, I have a production company with my friends, and, you know, I do a lot of producing as well. So I think I've kind of secured my way into always working on films, even if I don't always get to be on camera. I would just be happy to be on a film set in any capacity. So.
I will always buy a ticket to watch you on film, if that helps for anything.
Anyone buying a ticket to see a movie helps so much. It's also, just for you, it's like you can't ever have that first experience again. And especially for a movie like Babylon, it's like your jaw will be on the floor, and when you see it on a huge screen with the sound and the music and a crowd of people around you who are laughing at the same time and gasping at the same time, I mean, it's like being at the most insane party ever. It's so worth it to go to the theater, especially for this film.
Y bueno, creo que esta película también pone mucho sobre la mesa el tema de cómo históricamente el cine, las películas, las estrellas de cada época nos van marcando a los espectadores, pero también a quienes hacen cine más adelante. Y creo que tú tuviste una gran oportunidad de trabajar con dos personas que están cambiando y han cambiado la industria, grandes estrellas como Margot y como Brad, y bueno, está Toby, todo este elenco. En unos años, cuando volvamos a las películas que hay ahora, a las estrellas que hay ahora, ¿qué crees que vamos a extrañar de tener estas estrellas que tenemos hoy?
¿Qué vamos a extrañar? Pues es que, híjole, como la película dice, a ellas no las vamos a extrañar porque ellas ya son eternas, ¿no? O sea, digo, no sé, yo estudié mucho, por ejemplo, a Chaplin para trabajar con Manuel, ¿no? Para personificar a Manuel. Y pues yo creo que Chaplin se murió hace más de 100 años, ¿me entiendes? O sea, tiene mucho tiempo muerto y de todas maneras es como eterno. Entonces no sabría decir qué vamos a extrañar. Creo que siempre vamos a poder ponerle play y revisitarlos.
It's always lovely to see you.
You too. No piñata next time, maybe next time.
I'll bring you a piñata every time I see you now.
It's the most magical place in the world.